Hello, this is Phyllis. I'm back with beginning class number 2. I'm not going to go over the same material that we went over before. We're going to do quilted placemats. The reason they're quilted is because I want to teach you something new, and I want to teach you how nice quilting or piecing is another word for it. Can make your projects look. My project requires this is something I planned. You can make your own plan. You can make anything you want. But when you plan it out, decide how big you want it. I'm going to cut my material out 16 inches. Now, to end up with 16 inches, I thought, well, I'll have 4 and 2 and 4 and 2 and 4. But, yeah, that adds up to 16. But the problem with that is we're going to piece these together. So we need to add a 1/2 inch plus a 1/2 inch plus a 1/2 inch. And why do we have to add a 1/2 inch? Because we're going to piece them together. So when you attach this piece to this piece, you're going to lose a 1/4 inch seam on each side. So you're going to lose a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch there. So you have to cut your material an extra 1/2 inch. That makes you end up with 16. Now, when your last piece here is going to have a 1/4 inch, and you're going to put a 1/4 inch of seam allowance when you attach it to the back of your placemat. So you're really going to end up, you're going to cut your material 16 inches, but you're really only going to end up with 15.5 wide. And that's okay. It'll be 15.5 wide. Your center one here is going to be 4 inches. This one's going to be 3 3 inches because we're taking another 4. No, I counted the 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm getting myself confused. All right, you got that? All right, now let's get to cutting. I've chosen color with, I picked a color that was in my background, in the pattern material. You need to find your own combination that you like. So the first step is to cut your material. Now this one is going to be easy. This one is going to be, what did I say? 13 by 16. Oh yeah, the height is 13 inches. But we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance at the top and bottom, so it's going to end up being only 12.5 finished product. So your finished product, even though you cut your material 13 by 16, is you're going to end up with 12.5 by 15.5. Okay, now, I hope that all that math adds up correctly because I don't want to have to do it again. Now, I thought I was being clever by I set my camera right up on the table with me, and I thought I was being clever until I realized the stand is going to be in my way of my cutting. So I'm sorry, I'm going to see if I can cut it like that. I don't really know of any other way to fix it except over this way, I guess. That's what I need to do. Will that work? I was so happy about how I had it positioned. Now, here we go. we're going to cut this 13 by 16. I only need one of them, but I'm going to need strips out of the other. And I don't want to waste too much of my material. By golly, this is so long. This is so wide. I could make several placemats. You know, if I was going to make several, I would cut this 16, because this goes 13. No, I can't go. So I'm going to cut this 16, and I'm only going to come over 13 wide. Well, it's the height, but I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it the shortest point. I'm showing you all of the steps. I could make note of where each process starts, or maybe somebody will put the notes in the comments for me. You know how I am. I make promises I don't keep. Okay, this is double layered. I'm just going to go ahead and cut 2 out. I'll make 2 placemats easily. So I need this to be 16 long. But before I can make it 16 long, I have to cut the end off because it's not straight. I have to remember to order some more of these. Okay, did you see me cut that off? Yes, you did. All right, we're cooking with gas now, folks. All right, I made this 16 inches wide. No, this is only 13 tall. Oh, that's right. I decided this was going to be 16. I'm double checking. I'm always double checking. I'm just going to go ahead and run this twice because I know it's not going to work. All right. Now, as is I cut this from the wrong end. This should have been a folded piece, and it's not. So I've got to cut this off. Oh, there goes my husband's going to play me some music. I wonder if it's going to be mariachi music. We have a friend who likes our mariachi music, but I don't think he's going to watch my sewing classes. But if you are, Frank, this one's for you. It's not very happy mariachi music. Okay, here's 2 backs. All right. But you know what I'm going to do with one of the backs? How tall is this? Well, this one, I need 2.5 inches. And this is exactly, well, it's, you know what, it's, I can get 2.5 inches out of here. And when I do, it'll be doubled up. So here we go. want 2.5. I know in those sewing tutorials, they just give you the number and expect you to do it. But you see, I'm not one of those tutorials. I'm here to talk you through everything we're doing. Thank you, Lou. My audience is going to expect guitar accompaniment. He can't hear me. All right. This is a strip I won't ever need. I'm going to iron these. See how wrinkled they are? I should have ironed it before I measured it, but it wasn't going to affect my measurements. All right, so I've got the backing for 2 pieces, but I'm only going to put one together today. I'll lay this aside for another day. I'm going to put my iron on so I can warm that up for you. All right, so I'm going to iron all of this. Now this I need is my 4.5 inch strips, 13 by 4.5 inch. Now this is pattern material, okay? This is what we call directional material. So my 13 inches tall. So I've got to cut it 13 inches this way and 4.5 inches this way. See that? If I didn't have a directional, it wouldn't matter. But you've got to pay attention to your directions. So let's see what we've got here. I know that the directional, it's got to be 13 wide. I don't have a choice. It's got to be 13 wide. Oh boy. Well, I don't have a choice. I've just got to go ahead and level this up. Is it level? It is level. And this is 13 inches. Yep, it's going the right way. Here we go. And it's doubled. So I'm cutting a lot of material. So since this is 13, I can turn it this way and cut my 4.5 inch strips this way. And I only need 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to cut it as I go this way and leave my folded side untouched. I've got to cut off the selvage in. So I'm going to give it plenty of room. Now I'm just going to go 4.5 inches this way. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay. The rule of carpentry is measure twice and cut once. And my husband says, this is like carpentry. Leave a comment below if you have a husband who agrees with you that sewing is like carpentry. There's one. I've got to do 3 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay. And the reason I go twice is because my rotary cutter blade has got a niche in it and it skips a beat. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. All right. Let's go. I'm going to take all these over here and iron them real quick because I don't want to be dealing with wrinkled material when I'm trying to sew this stuff together. I know it won't matter. It'll all sew, but I like... Oh, you know what I did? I cut more than I needed to. I cut it 6 when I only needed 3. See, I forgot. Now I've got material for 2 placemats. See this? I got the backing over here for a placemat, and I've got the strips. I already cut these strips out, if I'm correct. Yeah. Okay. These are my strips. This is my extra. I'm just going to throw it up here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take one strip and overlay. And by the way, this green material, it's kind of thin, and but I'm going to interface it, and that's good. I'm going to compensate for the thinness with an interfacing. Okay, so I'm going to sew this down. And we're going to just keep going down the line like this. Okay, this first, then this, and then this. And forgive the rudeness of my stomach if you hear my stomach. Oh, well, the joys of getting old. All right, I'm going to go back over to this machine that has the, well, no, I'm going to show, yeah, I am. I'm going to show you right. If you want to start multiple layers of sewing, you need to learn to use your, oh shoot, this is not going to work. You need to learn to use what is that called? A walking foot. Yeah, you have to be able to use a walking foot if you want to sew layers together like this. Now let me see if you can see what I'm doing this way, okay? I'm going to set my machine to 2.8. I've got black thread. No, I don't. I've got red thread. Well, good. That'll make it show up. And that's okay because I've got red in my... I thought I was going to use the other machine, you see, and that's why I left the black... That's why I said black thread, but nope. We've got red thread, and you're going to be able to see the thread. And that's important. 1/4 inch. I like to set my pressure foot down before I start. You know what? That pedal is out of my reach. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Oh, walking foot isn't walking. Now, I want to tell you a little something about the walking foot. I know you can't see how it operates from this side, but maybe in another tutorial. The walking foot is something that simply keeps the material from moving. It keeps the material flatter. Without the walking foot, this material tends to ride up. For some reason, this material slides this way, but with a walking foot, it holds it down and won't let it move. All right, now I've got this done. When I'm through, I'm going to iron those seams open. But for right now, I'm going to take my next piece. Oh, and let me caution you. You want to be extremely careful about being straight on this, because if you were not straight, it's going to show up unmercifully, and your project's going to just look like a piece of trash. And don't let your material get away from you just as you get to the end of your project. Okay, I'm going to turn this camera around so you can see me from this side. I don't think you're really getting a good point of view from over there. Right? And this is supposed to be a tutorial on how to sew, not how to watch it end up. So here we go. Sorry about the flying around, but I don't know what else to do. Here we go. Because I want you to see the importance of doing it the correct way. Now here's our green strip. See, there's our oh, and you know something else that just I didn't even pay attention, but you want to make sure your directional pattern keeps going in the same direction. I didn't even look at it. I was so concerned about how to place the camera that I didn't even think about the directional. You know, I'm not pinning these because the material just kind of lays together, but you might want to use clips, especially at the bottom. Right when we get to the bottom of this material, that's when it likes to slide away. It goes slip sliding away, and it even slides away on me sometimes. So I'm going to put a clip here so it won't. And I don't know why, but that strip, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My strip seems to be a little bit like 1/8 of an inch too short, but it's okay. It'll get taken up in the 4/4 inch seam allowance. So we start right up here, 1/4 of an inch. You know what? I got offline. Yep, I sure did. Yeah, I had to sew that just a little bit, kind of straighten it out. It'll work out. It'll be okay. Now I'm going to get my other 2 pieces from over here. I've just got 2 more pieces to sew. We're almost through with this project, folks. This is the most complicated. Now see, I could have put this in upside down, but you don't. You want to make sure it's upright. And so we're going to start out at the very top. And again, it seems like my green material is like 1/8 of an inch short. How can that be? I don't know. Here we go. Keep it at 1/4 of an inch. Oh, don't go so fast. Taking my clip out before I get there. Okay, this didn't work out the way I thought it would. Oh, I only have 2 strips. I don't have a 3rd strip, do I? Look at this. I forgot my own. Yeah. This is it. This is all I have to do. All right, I'm through. Well, I don't want to put you back up on the table because I'll have to take you back down. Now, there's the front of our placemat. That is so pretty. I've got to sew this down. And I'll tell you why you have to sew this down. This is exactly 13 inches by 16. See there? We've got to put a backing on it. And the backing that I like for this particular project, I like this fleece. This is not, yeah, it is. That's fusible fleece. See, this is the bumpy side. Can you see the bumpy side? Well, no, you can't. This side is smooth. This side is bumpy. This has got the glue on it. I don't waste this by cutting out more than I need. This is too expensive. So, what can I do here? How can I cut this? I need 13. What am I going to do with this? I need 13 by 16. There's 13 right there. I know what I could do. Okay, this is 13, and I want to cut it all the way up to the 16, no, 17, because this is, okay, this is 16 this way. And can I get 13 the other way? Now that's only going to take me to 11. Okay. There's 13. I can see through this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mark right here to show me where the 16 mark is. So I'm going to cut this part out. This is 13 inches. Yeah, this is bizarre, folks. I understand how you might how you might think this is really extreme, but it is a little extreme. I can make sure that it's straight by lining one of these guidelines at the bottom and make it line up perfectly with this guideline, and then I know that this will be square up to that point. So where is my 13-inch mark that I made? I mean my 16-inch mark. That's 16 inches right there. Can you believe this doesn't even cut this stuff all the way through? Okay. Boy, this is legendary, guys. I've never done this before. To actually piece it out like this. I'm trying to teach you how to save money too. See this? This will save you some money. If you can do it. Oh, hold still. Okay, I can cut this out now. I just wanted to mark it. There we go. I hope you didn't go to sleep. I'm concentrating and I'm trying to work as fast as I can without overwhelming you by leaving you in the dark. This is 13 by 16. It should fit on this perfectly. The very next step we have to do, this is a very important step. We have to go iron this open on all these sides and then lay it down on top of the bumpy side of this. See where the bumps are? Then I'll lay it down on this. So, I'm back to moving you around again. In spite of my efforts. This is our back. And that's extra material. And that's a dirty ironing board. I need to get a new ironing board. And I need to get a small iron because this iron is kind of big and bulky. And you might notice I didn't cut this selvage off. I didn't see it. Because the other side looked just fine. I couldn't tell there was a selvage to cut off. Yeah, my intention is to show you every step. Some of the other tutorials, they just tell you to do it in some kind of sign language. And then they snap their fingers and supposedly it's been done. Ooh, I'm getting that messed up. While I'm ironing this, I'm messing up my other one. Okay, this is iron flat. I'm going to show you how to quilt, and we're going to do a thing called stitch in a ditch. I know I kept hearing that when I first started watching tutorials. I'd hear this stitch in a ditch, and I'm like, okay. What that means is that from the other side, you sew right in between where it's sewn, and that just gives it a very distinctive look and shows where you piece the two pieces together. See, like in here, when you, can you see? No, you can't see. In here, where you're stitching right here, you want to go, you go right in that. I'm sorry, I didn't know that I didn't have you aimed right. Let me get a little better view here. because I'm going to get that thing that we just cut. See, there's the bumpy side. I'm going to lay this right on top of the bumpy side. I didn't cut this big enough. Well, that's not going to work. Did you see that? You saw me measure. How could I have done that? That's not going to work. Oh my goodness. If I'm able to, I am going to cut that part out. Okay, here we go. I'm having to cut more of this material. I won't waste that material. I'll find a use for it. But I'm going to have to measure it from up here now. Oh, I see. 13. I don't know how that was too small. Oh. Okay. The 13 was good, but I didn't come down far enough. And because this is upside down, I'm going to cut it. I have to measure this. That's 13. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16. All I needed to do was go 1 more inch down. Shoot. Let me scoot this up. And again, I am using the crosshairs on this to find my spot, to find my, make it level. 8. Okay. 8 from 24 is 16. All right. Let's do this again. And I'm getting these in the crosshairs right here at the 13-inch mark. The guidelines, I mean. I use the crosshairs and the guidelines both. Now that was another cutting error I almost made because I wasn't all the way over to the edge. 13, 13. Okay, here we go. I'm glad I didn't cut it out 2 pieces, because if I'd cut the 2 pieces, I would have made double mistake. Let's go back over here. Let's do it again, this time without the up. And if I can delete that, I will. Let's see, does it fit this time? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Well, believe it or not, it's still not going all the way to the edge. That's okay. I don't mind if it's just a little bit, because it'll be in the... And you want to make sure your seams are down. Make sure your bumpy side is next to your material. And you want to iron it from the other side. What am I doing? Boy. Iron it from the other side so your iron will slide. You don't want to slide it too much because you don't want to stretch your material out. And then one will shrink back. When it's hot, it tends to stretch out. And then if you slide, you might be stretching it one side or the other. And then it will shrink when it cools off. And you'll have wrinkly looking stuff. Now see how much nicer that looks when you've got, well, first of all, ironing it makes it look nice. Now when I stitch in the ditch, I'm going to show you two ways of quilting. We're going to stitch in the ditch, and then we're going to, well, that's all we need to do. We're just going to stitch in the ditch. Because, see, what you do is you're sewing. One reason for doing it, besides to make it look neat, is you're also making sure that it doesn't come off of this. I know it's glued down, but it's not a real strong glue. You're supposed to stitch them together. If you didn't have a pattern here, you could stitch, just do it, stitch this way or that way like we did on the coasters that we on beginning class 1, but this is a little different method, and I'm going to use my walking foot to do it. Let me turn another light on. Might as well get all the lights on I can. All right, now you've got a real good look at this. Watch carefully. I'm going to, now there's pressure foots that you can put on that will actually hold hold it right there so that you stitch right on it. I'm not using that because I don't need to, because I'm good. Some people suggest that since you've got a contrasting color, that you don't stitch in the ditch, but alongside the ditch. Let's see, I'm going to try it this way. Drop your needle right down into this ditch, and you want to go slow. I'm going to set my machine on slow because you don't want it to take off. That might be too slow. Yeah, that's too slow. Okay, come on. Let's speed up a little bit. I'm not doing a good job of stitching in the ditch. It's not working for me at all because I came across the green thing down here. I couldn't tell the difference between the strip and the green pepper. Now let's see how well I did. Oh, that's not bad. I can see the stitching. That's kind of nice. All right. So if I don't do it right on the ditch, it's going to be okay. I'm going to do it right next to the ditch. And remember, whatever you do, it's uniquely you. If you make a mistake, like I made a mistake on this one going over, so I said, okay, if that's the way it's going to be, I'll go over here. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to keep my red thread in the green. And you can, and it stands out, and it's a nice little contrast. We don't need that. This is not going straight for me. I don't know what's wrong with me. It wasn't staying straight. Woo, let's see how wobbly that was. Was it real wobbly? Nope. Straighter than I thought. Here we go. Now, if you were bored at the beginning, I hope I've got your attention. Oh, look at that. Can you see the light? I told you this wasn't very thick. This green stuff wasn't very thick, but that's a pretty pattern, isn't it? Ooh, maybe we should frame these and put lights behind them. But look at that. See? That's your quilting. And that, like I said, will hold this in place even if the glue kind of lets go. Like after a couple washings, it might tend to get loose. Now, we just have one more step to do. Do you know what it is? Put the backing on. Okay, just like on the coasters, when we did the mud ropes or whatever you want to call them, we're going to lay the front sides together, and this material doesn't have a front or back, so I'm going to just lay it on top of here, and it also is too short. What? Well, you know, folks, I know it's too short, but you know what's going to happen? I'm going to sew this anyway. I'm going to sew this. Can you see where I am? See where this is too short? I don't want to start over. What am I going to do? I'll show you what I'm going to do. Because I want, now this is why you measure twice and cut once. I seem to have a trouble running my mouth and measuring. Here, I shouldn't be doing that. I should be making it straight. Okay, cut that side off. And I've got this straight on here. So it's okay if I show you how to fix a mistake. And that's what I'm showing you right now. I made a mistake, and here's how you fix it. You just make both sides straight because you made up the measurements yourself. Unless you're following a pattern, it's okay. You can just do it this way. But if you're following a pattern, you would have to start over. I'm sorry. This pattern is one that you made up yourself. I made it for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to sew 1/4 of an inch all the way around here, and we are going to leave an opening on the side. We can leave a nice big opening if we want, and because we're going to turn it in right, we're going to turn it right side out by going through here, and we're going to pull it off. So I'm going to make a nice big opening. We're almost finished. 2 more steps after this. Seam allowance, folks. Unless you're following a pattern, they might tell you to use a 1/2 inch. Come down 1 more. They might tell you know, if you have a pattern, they might tell you to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And be sure you do it, because it'll mess up all your measurements if you don't follow the measurements exactly. I've explained what I'm doing in my other sewing class. I'm pivoting. I forgot to explain what I'm doing in case you didn't see the other sewing class. What I'm doing is I'm lifting my pressure foot up, and I'm tilting it to see if I'm 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. There we go. See, I was 1/4 of an inch. All I had to do was lift my pressure foot, turn it around, and then start it back up. Now here's another tip. Oh, shoot. Okay. Here's another tip. I might have to cut all that out too. When you're leaving this little bit for your hand to go through, so I'm leaving this opening. Another way to make, and you know you got to turn this under when you get through. one way to make it easy to turn under is sew 1 or 2 stitches, however many you can get, out to the edge. It just makes it easier. And I'm going to go over here and do it to this one. This is one way. There's lots of ways to make life easier, and this is just one of them. Wait a minute. I don't want to do that unless it's just right. Okay. All right. Now we got to turn this right side out. I can't believe I left that on. All right. Now you know this opening that we left here. I'm going to go reach my hand in here. Oh, before we do that, miter the corners, because you want to get a nice fat, don't get too close, but just, you don't want to have a fat corner. You want to get a nice sharp point. So I'm just taking it off here so that when it goes through there, all right, we have finished. We have one more step to do, 2 more steps. We have to close up that seam. And can you see this? You have to get a tool. This is a bamboo point turner. You can use scissors if their point isn't too sharp. You can use, I've even used a pin to go up in there. But this is really convenient to have the proper tool, as long as you don't push it too hard. Now see what you can do. It's real easy. I'm trying to find that point, to get that point out, but it's real easy to poke your point turner all the way through that seam. So make it as sharp as you can, but don't go overboard with it. Okay, see how I've got those pushed out there? I just have one more. I forget this step. This is one of the steps too. A very critical step. You want to take time to make each one of these corners pointy. Okay, there we go. There. Now, I'm going to take this over there and iron it, and iron this part. Okay, there's a lot of ironing involved in these projects. don't worry about how it's looking funny right there. The reason it's looking funny is because it doesn't want to bend. See, it's not wanting to be right there. That's why I have to iron it. I have to iron it down. And I also have to iron this part. Remember, I sewed it to make it a little easier, but then it didn't work on that one side. So I'm trying to make this match. It's not matching perfectly until I get it ironed. This is important. This step is very important too, because if you're not careful, if you don't do it straight, then you look like you've got a little dent. And you don't want a dent. I'm going to iron this part of the thing down. Make it hold it down and maybe I should turn it over. There, that works better. What I'm doing is I'm turning in these two pieces that are left unsewn. And what I was talking about is be careful. You might be tricked into making it, if you don't do it exactly, it's going to leave a little indentation. I've done that myself, and you don't want indentations. You want it to look perfectly straight. So there we go. We're going to iron this. What's making it stiff is the backing on this. The backing on this is stiff, and it's wanting to be perfectly straight instead of bending at the seam. So what I've got to do is go over there. No, that didn't work, see? I have to pin this. I don't like to use pins, but I gotta pin it. If you hear that voice, that's my sweet husband doing a video. It's really strange having two YouTube creators in the same house trying to make a movie at the same time. All right, now what we're going to do, now what we have to do is we're going to go 1/8 of an inch. See how that looks perfectly straight? Make sure that's the way it looks before you sew it. Then we're going to sew all around here 1/8 of an inch. Let me give it a good ironing again. It'll make it easier. And this is when your walking foot comes in handy also, because the thicker it gets, the harder it is for your machine to process it. It's looking pretty, isn't it? This is truly the last step, I promise. I could show you how to do some more quilting. We could quilt it. I think I am going to quilt it some more. The reason I'm going to quilt it some more is because the backing. See, this isn't attached, not even with padding, so I'm going to start here. I don't start at corners because they're thick. Start off your corners, and it's 1/8 of an inch, no more. I thought I had this set not to go so fast. Oh well. When I'm top stitching, I go slower too because it's just now this is important also. When you get to this corner, your needle's down in the corner. You want to lift your thing up, swivel, but it's not right there at the 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to get it one more. I'm a perfectionist. I want it to be perfect. There we go. Now that's perfect. That is perfection, folks. That is perfection. Yahuwah is blessing me. Perfect. Perfect again. And that's where we started. There you have it. Is that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Now, like I said, I think I should. I'm torn between sewing this on because I'm worried that if it gets washed that the backing might have a problem. So I'm going to show you. It doesn't matter. I can show you some cute stitching. What I could do, and I'll show you another little trick if I still have that little tool. I used to have a tool. Here it is. This is a tool that will let you measure how far you're going on something. Now this walking foot doesn't provide me a place for my tool. Okay, that's not going to work. Any other, when you have the normal foot holder, this will go in there and you can use this to measure. I've got to get a drink. No, it's okay. So what I'm going to do, since I can't use this for a tool, gosh, I don't know what to do, because I don't trust myself to go perfectly straight. What I would like to do is just go I know what I could do. I can just go, I'm going to use my walking foot to measure this. And I'm going to sew straight down and using this for measuring. Watch this. You don't have to watch this. If you're not going to watch this, like and subscribe, and you can stop watching, but not until. I didn't start at the top. I'm going to show you what that looks like. See? It looks nice. I just have to fix this. And just to make it even, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to clip all these. Did you see me sewing that? I'm going to clip all these red things off. And we're going to see, does the red throw, see now if, when it gets washed, it won't be so much room for it to buckle up. I've got lots of threads to clip. That is actually absolutely the last thing you do. It's good to clip threads as you go, but well, I'm not going to make you watch me clip threads. I just want you to see this and look at our end product. It is, just like I said, 15.5 by 12.5. Now that's a nice looking placemat. And we can make matching napkins and or coasters. All right, that is the conclusion of beginning class number 2. Thank you very much. We're going to try a bowl cozy one of these days. That's going to be more advanced. I love you. Keep on sewing and praising Yahusha for your talent. Shalom.